Welcome to the Black Anarchist Podcast, a channel where critical thinkers come to learn and grow. Through pedagogical discussions, we challenge the status quo, conventional narratives, and present raw truth. I'm JC, author of Blame It On the Dress, The Manufacturing of Black Homophobia and Performative Masculinity. Today, we're going to talk about the white George Floyd, who was killed by Dallas County deputy sheriffs. But before I get into that, I just want y'all to know that this may be my last live stream for a while, depending on how this live stream goes. So far, there's nobody here. Yeah, I'm just not getting the kind of reception that I would like. And I really need to focus on promoting my book. I need to focus on growing my business. And I'm not sure what type of content to produce. I'll try to look at my algorithm and see what you guys want. And yeah, it's kind of hit or miss. I'm trying this because I mean, it's not like I'm not aware that white people are being oppressed by the system also, right? So we talk about the system of white supremacy. I guess that's just a blanket term. I guess that's just the easy way to describe it, but it's really a class issue. Um, I'm aware that white people are oppressed too. I don't know because okay, so I did a live stream about that white grandmother who was tased by the police, and nobody watched it. So I mean, y'all can say that it's my fault for not covering that type of content, but when I do, nobody watches it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you guys want. And even right now, there's nobody here. So this is really telling me everything that I need to know. So when I do go back to the typical so-called race baiting stuff, the thing that will garner more views, I'm going to be criticized for it. So I don't know. I can't win. There's no way for me to win. At the end of the day, time is money. I am spending a lot of time on this, and my channel is not even monetized. So um, I do have a lot to say about this, but if nobody's here, then this is going to be a very short live stream. All right, let me start by playing this video, and then hopefully you guys will get in here by the time I start adding my commentary. So this is Joseph Hutcheson. They said he was on drugs. Not that that's relevant, but at the end of the day, he's having I think he was having some kind of heart problems. He's not feeling well, and that's why they cleared the way. So now here it comes. I guess that's probably a marshal to try to antagonize him. Um, he's coming in there for help, right? And he's kind of y'all see how he's walking. It's just so sad how they just have to handle everybody. They have to resort to physical force at all times. And this is the muted version. This is another one, but I want y'all to just this is the raw footage that came from the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. I mean, so this happens really quickly, y'all. I could speed it up, but I want y'all to see what actually happens. Let me speed it up a little bit until he comes back. Okay. So I want y'all to take notice that he's not being aggressive. He doesn't feel well. They say he's on drug. Y'all see this? I don't understand why the initial reaction is to resort to physical force, to violently throw him on the ground, because this is what they care about. They care about control. Um, they don't know what's wrong with him. They're not going to try to help him. They're just going to restrain him and eventually kill him. I mean, what do y'all think? Do y'all think that was reasonable for him to just go up to somebody and throw him on the ground, someone who's not harming anyone? Um, because I'm eventually going to get to this opinion from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, if y'all are still here. But they said that he used reasonable force. I don't think that was reasonable at all, right? Because if it's based on the reasonable person standard, what reasonable person would just walk up to someone who's not committing a crime and throw them on the ground? But because this is a police officer, they get impunity to do whatever they want. It's not a police; it's a Dallas County Sheriff deputy. Same thing essentially. It's law enforcement. Why are they doing this? I mean, y'all see him? He's struggling, and the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals says this is what constitutes resisting. So they're going to say he was resisting arrest. Was there any probable cause of anything, any crime being committed? Why are they even handcuffing him in the first place? And the other police officer, y'all see he has his knee on his neck. I want y'all to also notice how they're literally killing this man and everybody's just standing around going about their business. Um, I mean, it's hard to predict how you would respond in that situation, but I'm pretty sure I would have said something. There's no way that I would just walk by and just and not say something. I probably would have gotten out my cell phone and started recording them. I would have called them out. I would have said something. There's no way. So he's already dead. He's already dead. This is so sad. So that's it. They killed him. Um. So again, I'm trying to be fair because I want y'all to know that this does happen to white people too. I guess that's the whole pushback against Black Lives Matter, because the presumption is that this doesn't happen to white people. It absolutely does. It doesn't get the media coverage. I guess I don't know what the reason is. I think it's probably the media that is doing that, because it's not the people. The people actually do care, and I want y'all to show. I want y'all to see this. So this is the reaction this is the response that we got from the public. Why is it not showing? It's not showing. Okay, 1 second. Here we go. All right, make sure y'all can see it. Here we go. So this is the public, because I want you to know that the public isn't as racially divided as the media wants people to think, because everybody came out to support him. Not everybody, but it's a uh, multiracial um, group of supporters here.
After he desperately ran into the building for help. But when you have somebody that comes to the police department asking for help and they are killed, there's something wrong with that picture. Regardless of what this man's past life was, whatever he did not deserve to die with a knee on his throat. All he was going to a place that he thought was safe for him.
And I also want y'all to know that they killed him 8 months after they killed George Floyd. So essentially the same situation. a law enforcement officer putting his knee on somebody's neck, that I think that is unreasonable. Who puts some, and you put your whole body weight on somebody's neck, and how are they supposed to breathe?
Never knowing this would be the place that he would die. So we stand here again, once again, in solidarity with someone who died upon the police brutality.
Let me slow this down a little bit.
Says that black lives don't matter. Now we got a white life. We got a brother that we have somebody that died upon those same circumstances. And to me, death is death. So now we must really understand that we have to galvanize. We have to say, let's make some things happen. You know, on August the 1st, around 10 a.m., Joseph Hutcheson parked his car on the curb at the Louis-Derrick Justice Center in Dallas County and hysterically ran inside. Upon entering, Hutcheson screamed, "Don't hurt me, I just need some help." Again, I'm gonna read that again. Don't hurt me, I just need some help. The deputies tackled him. According to the Dallas Morning News, Hutcheson screamed that he couldn't breathe. How many times have we heard people say, "I cannot breathe"?
Too many.
Too many. I just need some help. That's the most simplest and plainest thing it is. I just need some help.
But they're not here to help us. That's the whole thing people don't understand. They're not here to help us. They're here to maintain order and to keep us in line, to keep society functioning. Even though the guy needed help, they don't care about that. What they care about is that he was causing a disruption in the lobby. So to maintain order, his life was worth it. They're going to take his life in order to clear the lobby and have everything function. They were not going to take the time to figure out what was wrong with him. They didn't care. They just immediately threw him on the ground and put their neck on their knee on his neck.
I cannot breathe. Again, let you know, I am in distress. Help me. And a witness described one deputy restraining Hutcheson with a knee on his back, and another deputy restraining him with a knee on his throat. Do you understand that? A knee on this man's throat. Hutcheson's face turned from white to blue. Around 11:31 a.m., Joseph Hutcheson was pronounced dead. He went in at 10 a.m. At 11:31, he was what?
Yeah.
Dead. How long is that? An hour. An hour. Within an hour, this man was dead. To add to injury, authorities responded to public concern about the tragedy by releasing Hutcheson's criminal background and speculating they could see narcotics in his truck.
Right. So at the time, the Dallas County Sheriff, that was Lupe Valdez, a self-described, I don't even know if I should go there, but she called herself what did she call herself? A migrant. That was actually one of her campaign talking points. That was a selling point for her. She came from migrants. Lupe Valdez was a terrible Dallas County Sheriff. She actually ran for governor and she lost. I don't know why she thought she could go up against Greg Abbott. But Lupe Valdez, her response was to release his criminal record and she tried to withhold this video footage, right? This is one of the reasons why the protesters have to come out, because they were not going to release the footage. So because of all the backlash, and then one of the commissioners, which, I mean, I could talk to y'all about local politics, but I know most of you guys are not in Texas or Dallas County. But one of the commissioners by the name of John Wally Price actually helped them to get this evidence because they were not going to release it. So it does help to have one person up there who's willing to speak up for you. But if y'all are here long enough, I'm going to go over this opinion from the Fifth Circuit, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Regardless of what he had in his truck, that was no reason to take his life whatsoever. He came to a place thinking that he could get some help, feeling safe at the police station, thinking that somebody could help him, and he died. The same hands that's supposed to help him is the same hands that killed him. This man only lived for an hour, had a knee in his back and in his throat. And now these two police officers are sitting on death duty while Mr. Hutcheson is probably still at the morgue. But yet they dug up his criminal background from when he was 17 years old. The most pitiful thing, you're going to kill this man twice. First you kill his body physically, then you kill his character to make him a person that nobody's supposed to stand here for. And he lost his life.
Have to address these issues in Texas, not alone, in America, and fight for Joseph Hutcheson. We demand that the video, every corner of that jail has a video. We want that.
That's why I was telling y'all. This is the reason why they're protesting, is because they would not release the video footage.
Video to be released to the public.
That's right.
You ain't got to what's called okay with the autopsy. We want the video. Bottom line, don't give us no cloud on that.
After the speaker spoke third.
Okay, I'm going to end that one and this is the brother. This is the brother. I mean, he shouldn't even have to say that, but unfortunately, many people would watch that and they're going to say, oh, well, he was on drugs, so he deserved it. I mean, that's how college people are. We have a bunch of sadistic statists who give complete deference to the state, and nothing is ever going to be sufficient to hold them accountable. No matter what, it's always your fault. They can't. I'm going to eventually get into this qualified immunity defense that they raised, which I thought was absolute bullshit. But this is the reason why we have to abolish qualified immunity. It's not just for Black people, though. It's not just because the police officers kill us and harass us. No, this happens to everybody. I don't know why people of different ethnicities don't think that this is a problem. I don't know why you think that this only happens to Black people. So when we talk about it, okay, I guess that would have to fall on the media, because the media is not giving equal coverage. So you think that this is a Black problem and it has nothing to do with you. I don't think that this case got very much media, not national coverage. It only received local coverage as far as I'm aware of. Right, and the coroner ruled this a homicide. This wasn't a heart attack. This was a homicide, and it was very suspicious. What it looked like a cover up, which he's about to talk about. This is the reason why I say that video footage does not necessarily protect you, because they always say, "Oh, I'm wearing a body cam. Oh, there's video footage." That doesn't mean anything. They can kill you in broad daylight and still get away with it. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Wait. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to do that. Let me fix that. Okay. I should have checked. Here we go. Sorry, y'all.
I brought the question up of why, and they said, well, it's pretty common practice. Common practice to remove somebody's throat? I mean, does Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office
Were y'all at least able to hear him? Could y'all hear him at least? Okay. I hope y'all were able to hear him.
have a whole freezer down there full of people's throats? Well, it just didn't seem right to me. I just couldn't figure it out. And of course, they wouldn't allow American forensics pathologists to come into Dallas County Medical Examiner's Office and examine his throat. They're at their facilities. They're not going to allow that. They still haven't allowed that to this day. And anyway, today I couldn't make the press conference. Today's January 12th, 2016. Okay, so today I couldn't make the press conference deal this morning. I had to work, and I just had some stuff I couldn't put off. I should have been there. I couldn't make it. But anyway, Jeff calls me and tells me that they'd sent my brother's wife and them a letter basically saying, after so many days of storing his throat or whatever, there's going to be storage fees on it from I guess Dallas County. And
do y'all hear this? They don't even have the courtesy to store the throat of the man that they just killed, and they're going to charge you for it. This is the absolute arrogance of it, because they know that they are above the law. I don't understand. I mean, this is so tyrannical. I mean, you would think that if they had any kind of empathy, they would at least store the throat that they just took. First of all, they're the one who took the throat out of his body. Nobody asked them to do that. And now they're going to charge the family for it.
That if those if no storage fees are paid for them storing his throat organs that my medical examiner hadn't even got to examine, then they just dispose of them. Which, I mean, it's not a big deal. You're gonna pay the fees, but the point is that in that fine print, if you're not reading that, don't pay attention. Next thing you know, a very important part of this case just gets disposed of, thrown away. That they removed. Nobody asked them to remove.
It doesn't matter. You can have all your ducks lined up in a row, all the evidence you want. They're still going to get off.
They removed it without asking anybody, without saying anything. Matter of fact, my medical examiner at this American Forensics, I can't read her name, but it's Amy C. And then her last name's Gruszcki. They call her Dr. G. Okay, she does all the autopsies east of Dallas. Everything east of Dallas she does for the counties and whatever. From what I understand, that's what she does. Supposedly she's really awesome. Okay, well, she basically told me, I said, well, so what are you saying? If we wouldn't even got an autopsy on my brother before we buried him, if we'd have just said, hey, we can't afford to do a second autopsy on him, we're just going to bury him, then we would have never actually known, or they wouldn't have had to tell us that they removed his throat stuff. She said, no, they don't have to tell you that. That's exactly what she told me on the phone. She was they're only required to just keep it for a certain amount of time, and then they can dispose of it. I mean, some people, not us, but some people, it's against their religion to be buried without, what they was born with or whatever, or whatever the case may be. But still, it's just.
Okay, y'all. I know I'm probably not going to keep you guys very long, so I'm going to get to this Court of Appeals decision. So this was originally decided in the North, what is it called? The North Texas District Court of the federal court. And then it was appealed to the Fifth Circuit. So here we go. Here are the facts that they say here. By the way, I want y'all to know that how they get around being held accountable is you request a jury trial, and then they file a motion for summary judgment. Motion for summary judgment means that there is no genuine issue of material fact, because under their corrupted system, the jury only decides issues of fact, not issues of law, which is not the way it used to be under common law. Under common law, the jury would decide both issues of fact and law. I've been meaning to cover jury nullification for a while. Depending on how many views I get on this live stream, I may not be doing any content for a while. So I may be taking a break to focus on my business and promoting my book. But yeah, that's how they get around it. It's a motion for summary judgment. You don't get a jury trial, and the court almost always rules in favor of the state. So here we go. Joseph Hutcheson died after police officers restrained him at the Dallas County Jail. The plaintiffs, Hutcheson's wife and mother, sued the county and 4 individual officers, bringing an excessive force claim against the officers and failure to train and wrongful death claims against the county. The district court dismissed or granted summary judgment on all claims. Plaintiff appeals on excessive force and failure to train. We affirm. I mean, this is so predictable. I want y'all to know how difficult it is to litigate these cases. If you're just a private actor, you're going to have to hire an attorney. It's very expensive. But for someone like me who does it myself, it's very time consuming. And you basically put your entire life on hold to litigate these cases. And you get all the evidence and it's completely in your favor, and they still do this bullshit. It's no point in even going to court. At this point, I don't think I will ever sue another state actor again, another governmental official, because you cannot win. You spend all this money and time suing them, and it's a complete waste of time. If it's a corporate actor or some private person who did something, yeah, you can negotiate a settlement or something. But these governmental officials, they don't have to settle because they already know that they're going to win. They have an army of lawyers. The legal system is completely stacked in their favor. And by the way, these opinions are not even written by the judges. I want y'all to know this. And I've been back in chambers specifically for the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. When you go back there, what you have are a bunch of law clerks, which are law students who are writing these opinions. And I guess the judge reviews it and just signs off on it. But the judge is not writing these opinions. All right, so Hutcheson walked into the lobby of the jail under the influence of cocaine and methamphetamine. Of course, they had to include this because they're trying to make the law enforcement officers look like what they did was reasonable. He staggered through the lobby, approached a group of people sitting on a bench, conversed with them briefly, and took a seat on the bench. When he sat down, the others scattered. Hutcheson rose and spoke with Officer Alvin Hayes. Hayes placed a hand on Hutcheson's arm as if to restrain him, but Hutcheson brushed him away and sat back down and conversed with Hayes and Deputy Fernando Reyes, who walked over. I guess Reyes is the one who killed him. It's not like he shrugged him away. He wasn't feeling well, so he needed to go sit down. Hutcheson stood up again and staggered around the lobby. After he roamed the lobby for about a minute, Reyes approached Hutcheson, grabbed him, and placed him on the floor. Y'all see how they try to minimize what he did? He didn't just place him on the floor. He violently threw him on the floor, put his knee on his back, and then the other officer came and put his knee on his neck. Other officers joined Reyes in restraining Hutcheson on the floor. They placed him face down, and Reyes tried to handcuff him, while officers Betty Stevens and Trenton Smith helped restrain him, including by putting their knees on Hutcheson's upper back. Nothing about putting. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. They're saying that there are no genuine issues of material fact, which is why they granted summary judgment. But there are genuine issues of material fact because, according to their facts, the Dallas County sheriffs or deputies, they only placed their knee on his back. This is what the facts are saying, but they actually put the knee on his neck. And if that is a genuine issue of material fact, because then that would give a jury the ability to decide whether that force was reasonable. But if you say you just put it on his back, then that is reasonable. So I want y'all to understand how corrupt this legal system is. It's so convoluted that somebody who's reading this opinion probably would not understand the nuance of how they reached this decision. But that little small detail right there is how we got to where we are. Um, and I'm sure that attorney probably raised every objection imaginable. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good, how knowledgeable you are about the law. The system is rigged. You can't win. He also continued to move his legs, prompting Hayes to step on his. He was moving his legs because he couldn't breathe. They were killing him. I want y'all to understand how they're framing this. They're minimizing. I mean, they've done this to me. Of course, my cases were not as serious as this, but it's like my rights have been violated, and they minimize it and frame it like I'm the one who did something wrong. This is what I hate about the legal. When I talk about how depressed I am, when I talk about how suicidal I am, y'all think it's because it's something frivolous. It's something, oh, you just broke up with your boyfriend, or you just. No, I'm trying to tell you, this is what it is. It's the harassment from the police officers. It's the fact that they can get away with anything. There's no accountability. I hate this shit. I feel like I'm a slave. I feel like I'm oppressed. And I get, it's very unfortunate that this case did not receive enough media coverage, because I really want those who are white to understand that this applies to you too. They do not give a fuck about you. They will kill you the same way they will kill a black person. This is a class issue. They already stereotyped him, and they tried to paint him as a criminal, even though those criminal records were at least a decade old. No, probably 2 decades, but they said it was when he was 17. This is his juvenile record. But they don't have to be held accountable. So I'm sorry, y'all. When I talk about hell, how we're in hell, this is what I'm talking about. This is some slave shit where they can just torture you, they can kill you, they can get away with it, and you're supposed to just accept it. I don't know how that family was able to just get on with their life and not be enraged, because I would be pissed. If this happened to my brother, I would not be able to just move on. I would be pissed. I would be trying to figure out ways to get even with them. I would try it the legal way, and then I would probably try something else. I don't know what I would do, but I want y'all to know that civil disobedience, and I talked to you about uncivil obedience, those are options. I don't think that you should obey the law when a law is unjust. You should get justice for your family. And the legal system has failed us. And I want y'all to know, I talked to y'all before about the First Amendment right to petition the courts. It's really a right to petition the government, but it includes the right to petition the courts. And that's under the First Amendment. The reason why we have that is to prevent violence. You're supposed to have a court to address to give redress to your dispute, right? And if you don't have that, then the result is anarchy. As everybody acts like anarchy is the worst thing in the world, but the consequence is violence. So if the courts are not fair, they don't apply the law properly, then you have no choice but to engage in vigilante revenge, or you're basically going to be having, it's going to harken back to public gunfights, right? That's the consequence of it. When these courts don't follow the law, then you're going to be taking the law into your own hands. And I don't think you can trust these courts. You absolutely cannot. They do not follow the law. There needs to be something, and there needs to be comprehensive reform in the legal system. I think Trump would probably be a good person, but I don't think Trump is even aware of how corrupt the legal system is. Nobody is aware of it. The only people who are aware of are the attorneys, and they're going to fight to maintain a system because they're making too much damn money off of it. So somebody like me, I know about it because even though I'm not a licensed attorney, I've dealt with these people. I know the ins and outs of it. But I don't matter. Nobody's listening to me. And these attorneys are not going to tell the truth. They know how rigged the system is, but they are making so much damn money hand over fist. So this system is not going to change. All right. So where was I? Again, they tried to minimize by saying they only put the knee on his back. He continued to move his legs. And then Hayes grabbed both of Hutcheson's legs and pushed them upward toward Hutcheson buttock. We saw that. But he was already dead at that point. Once his legs were released, he stopped moving. Right. These facts are so convoluted. This is not what happened. And I showed y'all the video footage. This is the reason why the motion for summary judgment was improper. The officers placed him in a seated position, and a few minutes later, a nurse came to the scene. Minutes after that, the paramedics arrived and performed CPR. Why would you perform CPR on a dead person? He was already dead. I mean, there's a longer version of the video, but when I showed y'all that video, the little 4 minutes that I showed y'all, he was already dead. So by the time the paramedics came after the fact, which was probably 30 minutes later, he was already dead. So why would they be performing CPR on a dead person? I want y'all to understand how corrupt this is. They are doing this on purpose. They are misrepresenting the facts in order to cover for the Dallas County deputy sheriffs. That's what they're doing here. The system is rigged, and they're not on your side. Hutcheson was taken to the hospital where he was declared dead. The medical examiner's report concluded that the manner of death was homicide and that he died from a combination of the narcotics in the system and the stress from his struggle with and restraint by the officers. I'm not even sure about the second part. I'm not. They did conclude that it was a homicide, but I think they added this part that it was a combination of the narcotics in the system. No, they added this. There were narcotics in the system, but they did not conclude that that was the cause of his death. The plaintiff sued 4 officers in the county. They brought 3 claims: an excessive force action against the officers and failure to train against the county under 42 USC 1983. I want y'all to know that this is how you sue them, because you can't sue. Actually, you can sue the county. You can sue the county. You just can't sue the state because that's coming out of the Treasury. Under the 11th Amendment, the state has absolute immunity because they're sovereign. Sovereign immunity is not supposed to apply to the county or a municipality. It doesn't even supposed to apply to state actors. But in order to get around that, you have to use 42 USC 1983 and sue the state actors in their individual and official capacity. When you sue them, okay, I know this is boring, but when you sue them in their official capacity, you're basically suing the state. You're suing that position. But it's basically a way to get around the sovereign immunity thing. And then you sue them in the individual capacity. They're not supposed to have any immunity for suing them in the individual capacity. This is not this immunity that we're addressing here. This was not created by Congress. This is created by case law. Appellate courts and the U.S. Supreme Court have all these decisions where they came up with qualified immunity. 42 USC 1983 does not say anything about qualified immunity. They completely changed the law and made this up so that you can't sue them. No matter what, they're going to get off. Qualified immunity may as well be absolute immunity, because it is. You don't get discovery. You get no evidence whatsoever. If they did not get this video footage through open records request and they didn't protest it to have that video footage released, they would have not gotten any evidence whatsoever, because they were not going to release it, and they're not entitled to any discovery. That I want y'all to know that qualified immunity protects state actors from discovery. I know this is boring, y'all, but I want y'all to understand how corrupt the system is, because if you don't understand the details, when I talk about how oppressed we are, y'all think that I'm making this up. Y'all don't. I mean, it's so complicated and it's boring to listen to, but I want y'all to understand the ins and outs of how this plays out. The defendants initially moved to dismiss. The district court denied the motion after the plaintiffs move orally to amend their complaint. You don't have to file a motion to. You don't have to move to amend your complaint. You under the federal rules of procedure, you get an automatic. You have at least one amendment automatically. You file your initial complaint, and then when after discovery, after you get more evidence, then you get a chance to file an amended complaint. But they don't even give you discovery, so that's why they're saying filing an amendment would not have helped them. So after the plaintiffs filed their amended complaint, the defense again moved to dismiss. The district court converted the part of the defendant's motion raising the defense of qualified immunity to a motion for summary judgment. I don't see. I want y'all to understand how they bent over backwards to help them, because they already have an army of lawyers. Well, I'm talking about Dallas County. They have an army of lawyers representing the county, and the law is already on their side. They filed the wrong motion. They filed a motion to dismiss, and the district court converted their motion to dismiss to a motion for summary judgment. They're not supposed to do that. I want y'all to, gosh, man, I could go on and on for days about how corrupt this is, because what they say is when you're a pro se litigant, they don't give you any grace. They say that you're going to be held to the same standard as an attorney. So they don't give you any help whatsoever. You're supposed to understand all these complicated rules and navigate it without any help from the court. But here they are bending over backwards to help the Dallas County sheriffs, who already have an army of lawyers on their side. They have an army of lawyers on their side, and they still fucked it up and filed the damn motion, the wrong motion, and the court still helped them and converted their motion to dismiss for a motion for summary judgment. I want y'all to understand how consequential that is, because the issue, the reason why they affirmed the lower court's decision is because they're saying there was no genuine issue of material fact. But they did not even file a motion for summary judgment. So if they had not converted that motion to dismiss to a motion for summary judgment, then they would have been entitled to discovery and the case would have moved forward. So that is so crucial in this case. Man, this is so corrupt, and they can't even be held accountable. It's not like you can say these judges are corrupt, so let's go sue them. No, I want y'all to understand that judges have even more protection than even just these state actors. They have absolute immunity. Judicial immunity is absolute. So they won't, the case would automatically be dismissed. They don't even have to raise a qualified immunity defense. They would just automatically say, I am entitled to absolute immunity, and the case would be dismissed. You can't sue a judge under any circumstance. Well, no, gosh, I don't want this live stream to be too long. There is a limited circumstance where you can sue a judge, but it has to be for an administrative act. If it's for a judicial act, no, you cannot sue them. But even when it is administrative, they will still twist it around and say that it was judicial. Administrative acts are things like they forgot to file an order or something that like housekeeping type things, clerical errors, things like that, not judicial acts. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that, because I know this is complicated. It's very convoluted. I want y'all to understand how complicated the legal system is. This is the reason why attorneys get paid so much money. Even with my law degree, it's still very complicated. It's still difficult for me to navigate around this. All right, so after they converted that motion to dismiss for summary judgment, the district court granted the defendant's motion to dismiss and granted summary judgment against the plaintiff's claim. They granted summary judgment even though they didn't request summary judgment. Plaintiff appealed the summary judgment regarding excessive force. They also appealed the dismissal of their failure to train, or alternative, they request the opportunity to replead. Let's see if there's anybody still here. Gosh, I'm so glad you guys are still here, even as the two people. The fact that you guys are interested in or and they're forced through fear to play along. Yeah, at this point, I'm just going to tell people right now, it's not even worth filing a lawsuit. We need to. Anarchists don't believe in that anyway. We believe in direct action, so we need to really find strategic ways to hold these people accountable. And I mean, I do have some suggestions outside of just using brute force. I mean, there's things you can do like shunning, right? If these people, I mean, these people still live in society, right? They still have to go to restaurants and, right? They should be shunned. When they go out in public, don't speak to them. Don't be nice to them. Don't serve them if you have a business. Make their life a living hell. If you own property, don't rent to them. Make their life a living hell because they are our oppressors. And that's the only control that we have. We cannot rely on the courts. So shunning is probably the only thing that we can do. Don't date them. Don't have sex with them. I do have a story I could share to y'all about the time I accidentally had sex with an IDF soldier who I didn't know about. I did want to talk about that, but I don't know if this is the right live stream for that. Um, yeah, that's probably not my proudest moment. I can't believe that I had sex with an IDF soldier and I did not know about it. I thought this guy was a Latino, but anyway, let's keep going with this because shunning is really the last resort that we can have as anarchists using direct action. Review of summary judgment. Why are they even reviewing summary judgment when they never filed a motion for summary judgment? The district court converted their motion to dismiss to a motion for summary judgment. And now here is the Court of Appeals affirming that ruling, even though I mean, I didn't go through all these documents. I hope they raise all kinds of objections to this because if they don't object, then it's waived. And even though they wrote this opinion, that does not mean that this was not raised and this was not raised in their appellate brief. I want y'all to know that even if you take hours and hours following an appellate brief, they will write an opinion not even addressing the issues that you raised in your appellate brief. It's a complete waste of time. And for me, it's just time. For them, it's a whole lot of money. We review a summary judgment considering all evidence and the light most favorable to the non-moving party and drawing all reasonable inferences on and the non-movement's favor. They always say that. They say that they're going to construe the evidence in your favor. That's what they're supposed to do. But y'all, I read the facts. I want y'all to see that they did not construe the facts in favor of the appellant, the family who's suing the Dallas County Sheriffs. They construed the facts in the most favorable light to the Dallas County Sheriffs. This is why this system is so corrupt. They're saying this is the standard that they tell us that they're supposed to uphold. They're supposed to construe the facts in your favor, but that is not what they do. So when it's a summary judgment, they're supposed to make every possible effort to give you a chance to move your case forward. But they are not doing that. They construe the facts in their favor. All right. The burden lies with the movement to show that there is no genuine dispute as to any material fact, and the movement is entitled to summary as a matter of law. Right. I just showed y'all the genuine issues of material fact. The facts that they concluded was that they only put the knee on his back, not on his neck. And it was another genuine issue of material fact. I could scroll back up, but I don't remember what it was. Let me just quickly see if I can find it. Oh, and then they performed CPR on a dead person. I mean, come on. Come on. The officers raised the defense of qualified immunity, which provides government officials with immunity from suit so long as they did not violate. I want y'all to understand this is the standard. At least this is the standard in the Fifth Circuit. The first prong is that they did not violate clearly established statutory or constitutional rights, which a reasonable person would have known. And then the other one is that they acted in good faith, which I guess they worded it a little bit differently here. The defense actions were objectively unreasonable in light of clearly established law at the time of the violation, which basically means that they acted in good faith. I think these. Well, I don't know what the court is going to say that these are issues of law, not issues of fact. But I think whether the state actors acted reasonably is an issue of fact, which should be decided by a jury. But again, they don't want a jury trial because there's a chance that the jury might actually rule in favor of the family. So they're going to bypass that and just grant summary judgment. The plaintiffs contend that the officers violated Hutcheson's constitutional rights by using excessive force. To establish excessive force under the Fourth Amendment, a plaintiff must demonstrate an injury which resulted directly and only from the use of force that was clearly excessive to the need and the excessiveness of which was objectively. Oh, that is the other issue of material fact. That their facts say that he died from a combination of drugs and the force that was used by the officers. That is a genuine issue of material fact, but that is not what the coroner said. But again, they want to obfuscate and try to paint this in the light most favorable to the Dallas County Sheriffs. I'm not going to go through all this because this is a lengthy decision. Okay, let me just read this. A police officer uses excessive force when the officer strikes, punches, or violently slams a suspect who is not resisting. Another issue of material fact, because what the opinion says is that he was resisting. He was not resisting. He was not resisting. He was being choked because there was a knee on his neck and he was trying to breathe. So he was squirming his legs around and trying to get them off his body. And so that is considered resistance. I'm not going to read this entire thing because I've already gone through it, but I want y'all to get the key points. They're saying it wasn't excessive force because he was resisting. I want to get to the part where they expressly say that he was resisting. The fact they tried to restrain Hutcheson gently. Are you out of your fucking mind? They slammed him to the ground. Moreover, the fact that they tried to restrain Hutcheson gently before grabbing him and placing him on the floor weighs in favor of the reasonableness of their actions. No, that's not what we saw. There was one officer who tried to talk to him, and then the other officer came and immediately threw him on the ground. Indeed, we have placed weight on the quickness with which law enforcement personnel have escalated from negotiation to force. It follows that the plaintiffs do not raise a dispute of material fact whether the officers used reasonable force to restrain a resisting suspect. So they're saying he was resisting. Y'all saw the video footage. There was no resistance whatsoever, other than the fact that he was squirming when they were choking him to death. Oh gosh. And they requested limited discovery. What did they say here? Before limited discovery is permitted, a plaintiff seeking to overcome qualified immunity must assert facts that, if true, would overcome the defense. It is not enough broadly to seek information that might impeach the defendant's version of events. What are you talking about? You just said that there was no genuine issue of material fact, but they're not even allowed to limited discovery to impeach their version of the facts. Moreover, they failed to identify any questions of fact that the court must resolve before determining qualified immunity, thereby failing the first step. I just told y'all the genuine issues of material fact. The district court did not abuse its discretion in denying the motion for summary judgment. I want y'all to know the things that I've gotten screwed over for were things that were much less than killing somebody. But this is a very serious matter right here. Somebody just died, and they don't even want to give you discovery. they're going to do everything in their power to prevent you from having your day in court. There needs to be comprehensive legal reform in America. Oh gosh, this is the worst part right here. They created these heightened plea standards, which were created in 2009. This Ashcroft versus Ockbell decision. This is what it says: a complaint is facially possible when it pleads factual content that allows the court to draw the reasonable inference that the defendant is liable for the misconduct alleged. So no, you can't just plead. I guess the old standard were notice pleadings, where you just basically have to plead enough facts to give the court enough notice of, or give the defendant enough notice of what your claim is. They've created these heightened pleading standards that you have to include enough detail for the case to move forward. And if you don't have these if you don't satisfy these heightened pleading requirements, they will dismiss your case. But the problem is that they don't even give you discovery. So you can't even add those details to your complaint because they're not going to give you any discovery. So you basically have to file an open records request, hope that they give you the evidence that you request. Many times they're not. In most cases, they're not going to give it to you, and so you can't win. You without any evidence, you cannot move your case forward. Okay, so now this is getting back to 42 USC 1983. A person may sue a municipality that violates his or her constitutional rights under color of law or statute, ordinance, regulation, customer usage. I've been wanting to talk to y'all about 42 USC 1983. It is complicated, but this is how you sue government officials. But when I talk about legal stuff, everybody gets bored. And so I don't know what type of content you guys want. I only know what I know. So what is that? A hammer sees every no. I forget the expression is if you're a hammer, you see everything as being a nail or something like that. This is some psychological expression, right? I only know what I know, which is the law. I don't know what is interesting. I don't know what is salacious. I don't know that. These things are interesting to me because this is the oppression that most people don't know about. So I don't want to talk about what everybody else is saying because anybody can do that, right? Nobody's talking about this stuff, the stuff that actually matters. When you get oppressed by the system, these are the hurdles that you're going to run up against. I want to talk about that. I would prefer to talk about that all day, every day. When I do it, I'm only going to get 2 views, and I put all this time and energy. So I could lay out a detailed presentation of how to sue government actors under 42 USC 1983. Nobody's going to watch it, and I'm going to be pissed because it's going to be like, oh, I spent my entire weekend making this detailed presentation, and nobody watched it. So okay, then I'm going to have to go back to doing the typical boring, like the race baiting shit that people think, oh well, you're just no, I don't know what type of content so I'm trying to do the content that is going to get me the most views, and I'm not getting any views. So I don't know. I don't know how to please the audience. I would like to do more intellectual legal stuff, but I can't. I just can't. I'm not going to invest that time and energy doing that when nobody's going to watch it. Okay. I'm not going to go through this entire complaint. Gosh, I really would like to, but I don't want to bore you guys. I want to get down to. Okay, here's their conclusion. The plaintiffs request that if we were to find a deficiency in the complaint against Dallas County, we offer them the opportunity to amend to cure any defects. We review the denial of the leave to amend a complaint for abuse of discretion. The court should freely give leave to amend when justice so requires, but leave to amend is by no means automatic. Well, the first leave to amend is automatic. The second one, you do have to get permission from the court to file an amended complaint. And it should give you every opportunity to amend. But here's what they say. The plaintiffs contend that they should be permitted to amend so that they can plead their best case. The district court already provided them an opportunity to amend. However, and the amended complaint is still deficient. Moreover, the plaintiffs do not indicate how they could cure the complaint if given another chance to amend. Thus, the district court did not abuse its discretion in denying leave to file a second amendment. Again, somebody just died, and y'all see how callous and casual they are. This very matter of fact, run of the mill, like this is another case. They're just going to affirm the district court's opinion, move on to the next case, because that's all they care about is clearing their docket. So the fact that this family just lost their brother, their husband, their son, that does not matter. They don't give a shit. They only care when it happens to one of them. If a police officer gets killed, if a judge gets killed, if an attorney gets killed, then they're going to give every opportunity to amend. They're going to make every opportunity to try to give the family of the judicial or legal actor an opportunity to seek justice. But you're just an everyday Joe Blow. They don't give a shit about you. And what makes it so bad, this is not even a pro se case, right? Because they're completely biased when you're pro se because they get annoyed. They think you don't know anything. They think you're just wasting their time. But even when you have a damn lawyer, a damn attorney, when you're paying these attorneys $500 an hour, now you are in debt because I guarantee this family did not have the money to pay that attorney. So they probably have to take a second mortgage out on their home to pay this attorney. And so on top of losing their son, now they probably have $50,000 in debt for hiring this attorney. This is so corrupt. Salute. Please continue to share what you know. The majority wants BS and distraction instead of information that can transform realities for the better. Well, but it's not just about the audience. It's also about what I'm getting out of it. That if I'm going to invest my time, I want to see that it is actually making a difference. If I'm not making a difference, then I at least want to get some kind of money out of it or something. I don't want to just be sitting here wasting my time and then it's not affecting any meaningful change. No, I'm not getting anything out of it. If I had an audience that they were listening and they were like, "Oh, you taught me something. I'm going to go use that," and no, I guarantee I'm going to come back in 2 days and it's probably only going to be maybe 20 views for this live stream. I don't know. I mean, I could do that, but then it's going to discredit me to do. Actually, I could make it more entertaining by talking about gay shit and talking about sex and more salacious issues. But I'm going to turn some people off. Some people will find that entertaining, and other people will just be grossed out by it. They don't hear about gay shit. So again, I don't know how to please everybody. Some people will get something out of it, and other people won't. So the only way for me to win would be to do the standard, boring, anti-intellectual type of content that doesn't really challenge you to think. And if I were to do that, I would not get anything out of it. The type of content that I produce is the type of content that I would want. So I'm a part of my audience too. I go back and I listen to my content maybe a few weeks later. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. Like maybe I forgot something that I said. And I'm like, oh, I actually got something out of my own content because it challenges me to look things up, to think about things that I would not consider ordinarily. So I like my own content. I do not find my content to be boring. This is the content that I wish somebody else would produce. All right, so that to sum this all up, police oppression absolutely does happen to white people. We call it the system of white supremacy just because that is just a blanket term. And there is a hierarchy. It's not purely racial. It is also about class. Um, I don't know who needs to be convinced that this system isn't just oppressing black people. I don't know if black people need to be convinced of that or if white people need to be convinced of that. Um, Maybe both need to be convinced. I'm aware of it. I am acutely aware that white people are oppressed, especially when they're poor. I don't think that most black people are aware of that, and I also don't think most white people are aware of that. I think that's mostly because in the media. The media coverage is biased. The media coverage only shows when black people are oppressed. Um, Not even because they necessarily care about the black people who are being oppressed. They do it because they want to, I don't know, they want to incite some kind of emotion, evoke some kind of emotion, and have you. They're capitalizing on your emotions, right? They're not trying to change the system. They want to keep this shit going. All right, y'all. I don't know that I can say anything else about this, but the solution is going to be direct action. You cannot rely on the courts. The courts are corrupt. They don't give a shit about us. They don't follow the law. I'm going to be taking a break. Well, I'm going to see if I get any views, but so far there's only 2 people here right now. I'm predicting that I'm not going to get many views for this video. If I don't get any views, I'm going to take a break. If I do come back, then I'm going to talk about direct action and things that you can do without relying on the state. This is the reason why anarchists don't believe in relying on the state, because you can't get justice from them. The system protects itself, and you can't use the system to destroy itself. So I'm going to end this live stream. Thank you for listening to the Black Anarchist Podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. The struggle is real, and the fight for liberation is far from over. Get sovereign or die trying.